All right.
Sorry, we're kind of overtired.
Uh,
This is John and Axel from NYC Geek
Society.
I didn't know we were saying it at the same time. And we're going to talk about the game Transference. Or is it a game? Is it a movie? Is it a VR experience?
Who knows?
Elijah Wood is making it.
Wilfred.
Wilfred. That would be an awesome cameo.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, Elijah Wood is apparently co-owner of a company called Spectre Vision. And I think he said something about they make primarily like horror films, maybe. I never really heard of it, or I don't recall hearing about it. But him and Daniel Noah is they're partners, and they teamed up with Ubisoft Montreal's Kevin Rakape, probably.
Falape.
To make this VR cinematic experience that you could also play not VR.
But they recommend VR. It was made for VR, so you're missing out.
And it's coming out on PlayStation VR. Obviously, that means PlayStation 4 as well, and Xbox One. And I'm not sure, maybe Oculus or something. I'm not sure what that was, but they said that this kind of started that they had a mutual friend that worked at Ubisoft, and Elijah Wood has been a gamer his whole life, so they were at E3, and, they kind of got the ball rolling, had a bunch of pitch ideas. And, Ubisoft is good at doing, like, the big Assassin's Creed games, but also, like, little stuff like Child of Light and, little cutesy indie kind of stuff.
They're a huge company.
Yeah, they do a lot of good things. I think Ubisoft gets a lot of shit, but I like them. I don't know.
Not as bad as EA, though.
Not as bad as EA. He said something about that they pitched ideas for about a year before landing on this. But basically, from what I understand is that, like, mad scientist decides to, like, upload his family's consciousness into, like, a computer simulation. I don't know why. But, and something goes wrong. And so you kind of play yourself going into this world somehow and trying to help these characters out and piece things together of what may have happened, to this
I don't like the dad. He's really creepy. Or the hacker guy. I guess we don't really know his relation to the family unless they.
Well, yeah,
he's the father of the.
What we saw in the trailer was what looked like the father talking to his son. He just kept saying, "Dad, why are you doing this?" But I guess you're not actually playing as like the son or any of the characters' family, because they said specifically you, because they wanted the immersion to happen that way.
Yeah, they didn't want you to play a character and feel like you had to take up a certain role, like you're a police officer and this is your duty. So, I don't know. I appreciate that. I think I like being myself.
Good. So then I stopped taking notes because I had to eat something because I was about to pass out. So what are your notes, Axel?
So, yeah... As John was alluding to, you're helping people in digital purgatory. And I don't think there's any game that's like this out on VR, or at least I haven't experienced anything.
I've seen some like small experiences that are similar like that. Like there is a VR experience that was kind of weird, or like a test experience, or I don't know, that I had downloaded for free where it was like when you die, you upload yourself to the cloud. Kind of reminded me of like Black Mirror, But I'm sure like there's probably others. There's a lot of like weird indie stuff out there. But this seems pretty immersive. I liked also that they were talking about a lot of their influences were kind of like PT. And,
they mentioned that, like in PT, you can take your time with it, or you can kind of just like blaze through the entire game. And they even mentioned like even some of the sound design has some hints to where the story is going.
Which was kind of PT as well.
Yeah, like everything means something. And I don't know, I guess we've had this theme the entire day about like what gives games meaning, like more so than life itself. You mentioned that life is, I don't know, in your point of view, chaotic.
Right.
You know, so everything in this game has some sort of meaning. So I'm looking forward to being able to decipher all the clues. They also were asked a question, what surprised you the most about the game development process?
Right, yeah.
And I don't know, it kind of reminded me of where I work a bit, and I'm sure where John works too, just this constantly evolving, iterative process where they came in with an idea and the story would evolve further from there. And since Spectre Vision is a movie studio and Ubisoft is a video game studio, they both have their own individual ideas on how, I don't know, their best practices are.
Right.
And they're kind of exchanging ideas with each other, like, why don't you do it this way? And they would say, like, well, I never thought of it that way. You kind of have, like, you're in your little bubble, you know?
Yeah, you come in with your own skill sets, you know? And it's interesting that, like, over the past, like, you know, for a very long time now, video games have been trying to emulate a lot of movie and cinematic techniques. But I feel like the last, like, 15 years or so, it's also kind of flipped, you know, like a lot of movies are very much influenced by video games and how to have like an immersive experience. And so it's interesting when you see more of these worlds kind of, instead of trying to adapt each other, instead kind of collaborating with each other, you know?
Do you feel like movies are eclipsing, I'm sorry, video games are eclipsing movies at this point, just because they could do so much more in video games, like
specifically.
Like, I know we skipped this conference, but the Metal Gear conference, they were talking about, or not the Metal Gear, I'm sorry, the Hideo Kojima. Don't say those words.
Do not summon the Konami anger gods.
like the camera work in Metal Gear, for instance, right. You're following the player around, but then it goes into a cutscene and still uses the same camera throughout. And to do that in a movie would just take like something super sophisticated and organized, and here you're in complete control.
I mean, it's done. It's been done, I believe, but it's very difficult to do. You know, to have the at least appearance of like a movie like that's all just one shot. You know. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult. You know, it is kind of something that, in a way, I feel like is easier to do in a video games because, you have complete control over that environment. Mm. You know, like, if you want to have someone walking through a busy city street, you know, in a movie, and you want it to all be one shot, that's going to be difficult unless you have, like, a really intense soundstage or, you know, something like that. But you're saying like the video games are they more technologically advanced than movies? I mean,
no, I'm saying just, like, are they becoming more influential, like in storytelling,
like influential in the art of storytelling?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've always said kind of that. I actually have a really funny memory. When I was in college, I think it was my sophomore year. And I took a creative writing class, and I remember I said, I don't remember why I brought it up or what the question was, but I said I thought that video games were the most advanced form of storytelling that humanity has yet conceived, and the whole class went, what? Like they all like, it was like a roar, you know, and they all like jumped down my throat, like, what are you talking about? But I still hold that. Like, I think that it is the most advanced form of storytelling because it's the only medium that literally encompasses every other medium. It's visual storytelling, it's music and sound and reading and just everything. But it adds that extra layer of experience that I always said, like, you could, tell somebody something that happened in your life,
Yep.
You could show somebody something that happened in your life. You could have them read about it. But
you can't make them walk through your shoes.
You can't make them live it. And a video game lets you make them live it. The most memorable, the most life-changing experience I had in a video game was the Sniper Wolf scene in Metal Gear Solid 1. Where, actually it was before that. It was a Psycho Mantis scene. Sorry. Where, for the first time in my life, I felt like I had killed somebody. Where, you're fighting this guy and he's killing you, and he's killing Meryl, and you get really frustrated, and then you gotta figure out you gotta switch the controller ports before you can fight him and kill him.
Good old days.
Once you figure that out from going to GameFAQs or something, and you defeat him, and I'm like, yeah, I got him, blah, blah, blah. I got that feeling that you get for beating a bad guy in a video game. And then he's like telling you about why he joined the organization, about his life and everything, and then he helps you. And then at the end, he died. And I remember feeling like, oh my God, like, I felt like I killed somebody. And,
now you feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah, if you had just shown me that in a movie, or if I had read it, I might get...
You feel disconnected from the character.
It's not me. But that
like,
felt like it
their
was
fault.
me. Yeah.
The guy on the screen.
And it just, like, put the seed in my brain of, like, wow, this medium could do so much more. At 14, I was like, my mind was forever changed. My life was forever changed, And
so it's definitely exciting to see what they're going to do with Transference. They're looking forward to just seeing, like, the emotional response.
Yeah, that's something they kept saying. They wanted, the main emotions they were looking for the player to feel were fear and empathy. I thought that was interesting to say empathy, Because I feel like that the best horror experiences specifically are when you care about the characters and what's going on,
Yeah, then you don't... I mean, if you had no empathy, then you wouldn't care if the characters were dead or not.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Are they already dead if they're uploaded in some sort of server?
I want to be there with, like, the VR headset, just eating popcorn. Like, my decisions don't matter.
Did you have any other notes, or should we just riff of it? Because, like, what I want to ask you a question. Like, I don't remember if we've ever actually talked about this, because we're big fans of Black Mirror and San Junipero specifically.
That's where we live.
But if you could upload yourself into, like, some cloud server before you die, and, like, therefore possibly live forever there, would you do it?
Yeah, I would.
Even with the risk.
Oh, but forever?
And also with the risk, like, what if... I mean, on one hand, it might be like San Junipero Paradise, but on the other hand, it could be like
you could be in
Transference, and maybe there was, like, a bug, and, like...
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to see what's next after death.
Well, what do you mean by... Do you think that you're saying that you would rather die and see if there's an afterlife?
Yeah, I'd rather see that.
But I mean then you would have both, right? That's an interesting question. We gotta make a movie about that.
If you die and there's one part of you that's experiencing the afterlife, if there is one, and the other part of you is like in purgatory in a cloud server.
Yeah.
That's a movie idea. Elijah Wood, I hope you're listening. That'll make that the next game. Be a multiplayer game.
Alright, so although we've had our second wind here, we're going to close out for tonight, people. And this was just Tuesday. It was a pretty packed Tuesday. I'm excited to see the next couple of days. So far, I think this is a really great E3.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really impressed with, like, I think Jeff Keighley even said like the variety of games that are coming out this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is like a packed year.
I mean, you got like Nintendo's just like all out fun stuff, and then you got Sony's story-driven experimentals, and then you got like the massively multiplayer Microsoft experience with like Anthem.
Yeah, and Xbox saying like, "Hey, we got some."
And Microsoft
stuff's on the fire. Like we got stuff on the burning along. I don't know what I'm trying to
cooking
say.
the bacon.
You know what I'm trying to say. Cooking the bacon. They got stuff that's gonna happen.
They got
at some
things.
point soon.
I'm excited.
They
for
got companies.
companies that we love.
We saw Death Stranding gameplay. Well, actually, we have one more video. What am I talking about? We still gotta do Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I wasn't sure if you wanted it or not.
Stay tuned for Cyberpunk, people.
I
could just cut this out, but
no, this is kind of fun. We could just like,
effort.
NYC Geek Society.
We
Geek out.
We mess up.
Watch the other videos.
Watch all the videos, please. All right, like, share, subscribe.
Ring the bell, please.
Ding. Bye.